Welcome to this another Tech Bite with Cloud Devta. So today we will talk about Zero Trust and ZTNA basics. Now, if we talk about the global pandemic, since then the overall threats and attacks have increased by 4 to 5 times, and that's the reason most of the organizations have been thinking around modernizing their security approach. So Zero Trust is one of those approaches which makes it more comprehensive and a very secured model for organizations. So what I will do is first I'll talk about the castle approach, which is the traditional approach, where organization used to rely on VPN and firewall. And now, if you talk about ZTNA or the Zero Trust, how things are changing. So with the castle approach, it's and why we are calling it castle security model, because it's if you go into the old times, the empires for king, they used to have these castles to protect themselves from the outside world, and the basic flaw in that model was the anyone inside that castle was trusted. So and if you remember, most of these attacks on king were always insiders. So it's a flawed approach. So here in castle approach, most of the security screening is done outside. That is, you would have one company network, and to connect to the company network through VPN, you would have branch offices, and any screening that has to be done is done only on the outside of the company network. Once you are inside, there is no one to stop you. There is no further authentication or authorization attempts, and the lateral movement from one application to another is quite easy. Now, here the concept of trust that we are talking about is a human one that we have taught to computers to adapt to. Otherwise, computer never knew about trust. So a computer security model based on a human definition of trust is really flawed, especially when attackers nowadays are becoming more advanced and of course, disguising themselves as trustworthy. So this model or this concept of trust is no more useful. So VPN, if you talk about, is an excellent technology. I do agree with that. It's great to protect the privacy of and secrecy of data communication. It was not designed to for authentication and authorization, just to connect from one network to another network. That was the main purpose that we also see in this diagram. Similarly, firewall, if you talk about, have zero visibility and control over users' application and services like email, SSH, RDP, web. So these are some of the things. Now with the latest approach, if you talk about the hybrid approach where information often spread across cloud vendors and on-premise and users are at different location, it is really difficult to have a single security control over the entire network. This castle security model is no longer valid. Now, what is zero trust? If you would like to understand, so first I'll take this description by IEEE senior member. He said zero trust is not a single product, nor it is a single approach or technique. It is a mindset, a decision. It is an organization saying that security is a priority, and I then putting resources behind that statement. So this is what zero trust is. The very basic of zero trust is that this model suggests that no user, even if allowed into the network, should be trusted by default because they could be compromised. Identity and device authentication are required throughout the network instead of just at the parameter. So this is what this model talks about, and it protects the enterprises by removing the implicit trust and enforcing very strict user device authentication throughout the network. So maybe if you require only a couple of applications to be accessed, only those would be exposed to you rather than the entire network. So this trust, this is a proactive approach rather than a reactive one. This approach forces you to think: what if the user, system, or the network is already compromised? If it is already compromised, how I would react? So that is what the zero trust model is all about, and it focuses on protecting the resources, your application, not the network. So because network is no longer a core component of enterprise security posture, the application data is. So this is how zero trust would make sure that level of security is there. So thanks for joining this session. I'll be coming up with more deep dive session on ZTNA and zero trust. So please like the channel and give a thumbs up if you like this video. See you next time.